again. We know this is what we're meant to do. So we wake up, put our feet on the floor, go and conquer the day like a warrior, like warrior. Wake up, 'cause that's what a tribe does. We got your back so you can relax and focus on all the important stuff, like getting your business done. This is our tribe. We look out for each other. That's right, that's right. This is our tribe. We help each other grow in business and life. That's right, that's right. No need to panic anymore. We got lots of support and an army of warriors by our side. We fight the good fight when we unite. We fight the good fight when we unite. 'Cause that's what a tribe does. We got your back so you can relax and focus on all the important stuff, like getting your business done. This is our tribe. We look out for each other. That's right, that's right. This is our tribe. We help each other grow in business and life. That's right, that's right.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. Let's stop sharing. My name is Sondra, and I am the host and producer of the Explore ProTech Coffee Shop show. For some reason, that is a very big mouthful today. Welcome. We talk about business, particularly entrepreneurs that are starting up, small business, medium businesses, and we are still talking about financials because April was a month, financial literacy month, but it's hard to push it all into 1 month. So we are continuing to talk about financials and money because, again, you need money to run your business. You need money to pay yourself. You just need money. It is what it is. That is the world that we need. So today we're talking about business credit, funding, education, things like that. So I have been blessed to be mentored and coached by a business credit coach or credit coach, period. and she's amazing. So I definitely give a shout out to her. So Miss Evia Palacios is Empower You is her company, and I've been around her for 4 years now, and she's amazing. So she does personal and business and investment and things like that. So I've definitely learned from the best, and I didn't know it in the beginning when I started my business, and I really, really wish I did because I definitely would have saved myself several thousands of dollars. So that's one thing about the show is we want you to take the lessons we've learned personally in our business and apply them so you don't have to learn them. Because why? Why learn a lesson that somebody else has learned if you can help not do that again, repeat that. So, so business credit, I'm going to speak specifically from the US point of view because I don't know international business credit. I'll be honest. But I could definitely get you resources and education on that. Just reach out to me. Because I'm sure I have it, just didn't think about that perspective. So when we're talking about business credit, particularly in the United States, business credit and personal credit are two separate things. So your personal credit kind of has to be decent to start your business credit, but once your business credit starts and your personal credit, they're like very separate. So if the business tanks and your business credit goes down the drain, then your personal credit isn't affected. I mean, people still want their money, of course, but as far as scoring, business credit score in the US it's basically null. Like it's not really a thing, where personal credit is definitely a huge thing in the United States. So learning that, and then also knowing how to set that up is part of your legal too. So how your company is set up affects what credit, what funding, what loans, what every type of financial assistance you can get is going to also feed off of what how you have your company set up. So in the US, we have like 4 or 5 different ways you can set up a business. So most small businesses are either LLCs or S corps. So definitely know when you're setting up your business what do you want to look what do you want it to look like down the road? And again, education. Educate yourself. What does this mean financially? Because taxes, getting business credit, getting investors, all those things, it could depend on how you legally set up your business from the get-go. And at least in the US, it's not necessarily that easy to switch it. It's doable, but it's a whole lot of extra steps. So definitely knowing, and I'm sure that's all over the world, is setting up your business is really important from the get-go so that when you come time that if you need an investor or credit or anything like that, that you have the right setup from the get-go. So definitely make sure you know what the options are and why they're options, I think is the biggest thing with that. Another thing with business credit and finances is, of course, knowing your numbers. I know we've said that every single week for like 5 weeks straight. Know your current numbers, know the numbers you're going to forecast, know your numbers, review your numbers, know your numbers. If you don't understand your numbers, that's where you get an expert, whether you pay for them, barter, be in a community like this where we help each other out, whatever that version looks like for you. Know your numbers because I've seen, and maybe you've done, where you ignore it and then it comes and bites you in the butt later. So definitely don't do that. Um, so I definitely think we are going to talk about grants later this month. I think it's either next week or the week after that. That is an option. But where you get your funding matters, whether it's an investor, a private investor, a bank invest, like where that comes from, whether it's credit, whether it's um, I don't know, you win the lotto lottery or something crazy. But anyways, how you start your business and what money you start it with is extremely important. Um, Down the road, I'm not a fan of business loans. I do know they're out there. Don't get me wrong. I'm yeah, Peter's like, no. Uh, they're out there. Do your due diligence of being educated. I have people text me weekly trying to offer me a business loan. Like it's crazy how much people push loans. Um, I use business credit. I know how to look at business credit in a way of 0% interest, moving money around, getting money in different ways, getting bonuses, getting travel miles, all the perks from business credit. Um, Again, I was coached and mentored, so that helped. And now I know it, and now I know what to go look for. So a plug for coaching. Coaching can help in that way. Um, but yeah, business loans is not definitely not something that I personally believe in advocating for. I understand why they're out there. Um, I kind of like we talked about banks last week a little bit that, they basically take our money and triple their own money. So I'm not a huge proponent of loans because again, you're giving people money to go take and invest and they make money off of your money and you're getting basically all you're doing is taking the money and stretching out how long you pay it back with sometimes double the amount that you took out. So just do your diligence. Um, Again, education matters in these things, and do your education not just based on what we say or what a bank says. Like go through different types of education. You know, look at a bank's education versus a financial company versus, entrepreneurship. We have like the SBA and different things in the US that help with education so that you can get different versions that because every version has a little skew to it. Like I meet Peter and I are not for loans. So that would be our thing, you know. So everybody has their own skew of the education. So it's on you to be like, okay, I got this resource, and these resources, and it's varied enough that I can like compile my own opinion, and make some decisions. So come on in, Peter.
Awesome. I'm actually glad we're talking about this. For me, the word loan is just icky. I like to try and circumnavigate that space. However, if we look at the reality of what a loan is, in order to even get a loan, you basically need to prove that you can pay back said loan, which is the due diligence. Not only to the institution or the investor or however you're getting your finances in, whether it's an investor or whether it's through a loan from the bank or a business loan, you have to be able to prove not to them, but to yourself first that you can actually pay it back. A good way to look at it would be, I've got a signed contract for X amount of product I need to deliver. In order to deliver, I need the loan, but I have a contract. And that contract is proof that when you deliver on said contract, then you have to prove that you can deliver on said contract, because you could always not deliver on the contract. So there's a lot of proving that has to take place before you would even think of taking a loan. I've seen way too many times where somebody comes up with a harebrained business idea and they go to the bank and they're like, yay, I'm going to get a loan and I'm going to make this harebrained idea work. And then it doesn't work. And you are in debt, a lot of debt, because you've got to spend money to make your harebrained idea work. And it doesn't always work. So I think when it comes to loans, especially through financial institutions, there needs to be some form of track record. You can't just come up with a harebrained idea and think, oh, I'm going to get a business loan and I'm just going to go for it. Please don't do that. You will shoot yourself in the foot. If you've created a space that has a track record where you can actually go, you know what, based on my customers and based on what I create annually, based on the contracts that I have signed and in place, it's just a cash flow thing, but I can generate the finances. And if I have this cash flow, this injection of cash flow, not only will I be able to deliver on the contracts, but I will be able to over deliver on the contracts. I'm safe to be able to take a loan. Then you've proved it to yourself, but now you've got to prove it to the financial institution, who you don't need to work too hard to prove anything, because they're just dying to give you a loan, because they're dying for you to pay it back with interest and dying to make money. That's what they're there for. That's why they give you a loan. They're going to make their money back. So the shorter the period you can have the loan for, the better. There's a lot of things that you need to really do your homework. When it comes to an investor, I don't think I would allow an investor into my space unless he was willing to take as much risk as what I was taking. They need to believe in what it is that you're actually doing and be willing to invest. But the moment an investor comes along and goes, oh, I'm going to invest, but I expect X amount back at this amount, at this, I think it was actually, where was it? It was on Shark Tank, where you see that there are investors that do believe in a particular product. And sometimes they will say, you know what, I really believe in this product, but I don't actually believe in you. But I really like the product. I'll buy the product as long as you don't come with it. Or they'll say, why are you doing this? We really believe in you, but we don't think this product is the right product for you. Or they'll go, we really believe in you and we really believe in the product. We're willing to put not only our finances, but we're willing to put our skills behind this project or this proposal or this. So be careful where you get your investment. If the person making the investment is just there to make money, 9 times out of 10 they are. If they're willing to take the risk with you, great. If they're not willing to take the risk with you, you could find yourself in a whole lot of hot water really quickly. People want their money back, whether it's financial institution or whether it's an investor or or they want something back. It might not necessarily be finances. So you've got to figure out what that is. What do they need? And what are they aiming to get out of it? That being said, do your homework and prove it to yourself first. Because proving it to anybody else is easy. I mean, you get people that can sell ice to an Eskimo. You could go into a financial institution and go, this is the best idea since sliced bread, and it's going to work. Give me a $1 million loan. And they give it to you, and the sliced bread doesn't look so good. It gets cut skew and it's all wonky. You're still in debt. So do your homework.
Yeah, for sure. And there's tools out there to help you do your homework. There's SWOT analysis. There's comparing business to business, which SWOT also helps with that. But there are tools and resources out there to compare or to even and to look at the industry you're going into. So I'm coaching. If I want to do life coaching industry, there's definitely tons of data and research out there. Which usually you do that in your business planning stage too. So you'll know that. You'll be like, okay, the coaching industry is $1 billion industry and it's going to improve. They're forecasting 20% increase every year in the next 5 years. I made up those numbers. It is high, but I don't think it's that high. I'm doing it off the top of my head. But it's out there. If you have a library, at least in the US, some libraries, especially college libraries, have research departments, and you can be like, hey, do you have data on X thing? And depending on, of course, the resource, the library, and so forth, they either have it or they can be like, oh, go look here. They know where to look at it. So again, know where to get some resources from. Yeah, the internet can be your friend, but it also can be your foe because you have to see where the information is coming from. So, if it's Wonder Bread talking about bread, that's kind of a reliable source. If it's, Peter talking about bread, I'll be like, okay, why is Peter, why is Peter credible? Credibility, I think, is what I'm looking for as far as your resources go. And again, also, but coming from different points of view, because again, Wonder Bread's going to tell you it's the best thing in God's green earth. And, Petridge Farm is going to tell you they're the best bread in the world, so you definitely have to look at that. When I do comparison, even when I'm doing systems, I do comparisons, I will look at what the company says about theirs, but then I will look at what other people have done. There's actually companies out there that literally that's what they do is they compare this system to this system to this system, this platform to platform to platform. And I will read usually 5 to 10 of those before I go, okay. And then I'll go learn more about the system itself. But I'll be like, was there customer service? Was it setup friendly? Is it, user friendly? Is it, does it have data? Doesn't it have data? Do you have to pay for all those bells and whistles, but they tell you nothing when you look at the price? So all those things when it comes to that. The same thing with funding. Read the fine print. There's a reason it's fine. There's a reason it's itty bitty. So know that for sure because you're signing for the money, whether it's business credit, a loan, a grant, investor, always have some type of contract, of course, which banks and credit card stuff will make you do, but read it all the way to the end. And I've been guilty about not reading contracts to the end, I'll be honest. But yeah, make sure you know what you're signing and what you're getting yourself into. And like Peter said, make sure you have paying customers before you go looking for funding to biz. So I may have done that backwards in the first year and a half of my business. I had a whole lot of, I thought they were going to be customers to the point of I put my 2 weeks notice in and I had 0 clients. So out of it by the end of the month, some other things happened in my life and it worked out, but it was very, very, very stressful. And I would definitely not tell people to do that in any means. And I'm grateful I have a husband that has an amazing job and some amazing things happened there. So it worked out. But if not, then I would have had to like egg on my face, been like, to say, I want to keep my job. Like, can you please let me keep my job? Um, which would have, been embarrassing and stuff. So definitely know, um, for sure, 100% sure that you have a way of paying the money back, because people want to know that, and you need to know that. You need to believe that too. Like Peter said, you need to believe in yourself and prove it to yourself. And reputation. If you have a reputation of you don't pay people back, or you don't get back to people, or you, go buy the newest, fanciest, blah, 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 as soon as a dollar hits your pocket, you might not. Investors or anybody is not going to necessarily want to run and give you money with, they're like, okay. I've had some personal experience with that with somebody had, and it was a business partner, like took all the money and invested it in, I don't know, uh, a coffee bar in the office, like just silly things, like had nothing to do with investing in the money. And the other investors, a family member, and he was just like, oh, what the heck? Like it was just the dumbest things in God's green earth. Through a training party, but like catered it and went big with it and just out of the means of what they had. And so the investment got ate up really quickly, and that it wasn't about equipment or pouring into, travel or anything that was going to actually produce money. It was the silly thrills and bells and whistles that they wanted to make themselves look great. Um, and, I've been that, like, especially when people are all the time going, hey, you want the newest this or that or this or that? And you're like, oh man, I just got a retainer for blah blah blah. Like yeah, I'll invest in that. That'll help me do X, Y, and Z, but it really doesn't. Or you didn't do your research on the product they were selling you or the service, and you're like, oh, wait a minute, that wasn't really what it was. So definitely, again, like we said, education, do your research. There's research out there. You don't have to spend hours and hours and hours of doing research. Um, it's definitely out there. You can ask ChatGPT, you can ask Google. Like there's so many things out there that you can use. Go to a library, ask a librarian, people in the industry, people in the, financial industry, or a lawyer, or any of those things. Use your resources to educate yourself, so that you can get the funding that you need to grow your business, but not at a price that's going to be, what's the word I'm looking for? Not at a price that you cannot pay back, or at a price that's going to mentally or emotionally or cause harm to you in any way. Because debt is debt. And yes, like Peter said, people want their money back. It's not a, yeah, I'll write you off and not get your money. Because that just doesn't happen. Come on in, Peter.
Um, so it is a bit of a sad reality. We run in entrepreneurial circles. We do a lot of networking in entrepreneurial circles. I'm connected to multiple networks across the world. So is Sondra. I'm assuming Lesetja is too. And it's just a very common story. It's a very common story. As an entrepreneur, you hear about it all the time. Oh, did you hear about so and so? They went under financially. Or did you hear about this person that took a loan, couldn't pay it back? Everything was repossessed, or they lost their house, or they're losing their car, or they're losing their ability to do business, or they're losing their workshop or their factory, or whatever it is, because unwise financial decisions were made. So at the end of the day, it's about education on how do we make the choices that we make and why do we make them. So, I mean, I've got a few like really simple principles, like for myself, if I need money for something very particular and I don't have that amount of money, before I will borrow said money, or borrow, lend, either one of those, before I will do that, I need to know for myself that by a particular date, I have that money to pay it back. I need something solid, something secure, even with my own family. And I've done this before. I've gone to my brother and I've look, I need to push into this. I've got this contract. It is signed. It is solid. It's a done deal. It's on paper. It's presentable. It can be shown as evidence. I need X amount, and I can pay it back to you within 3 weeks. Because on this very date is when that finances hits my account. And he'll be sure, no problem. And he'll lend me the money. But then on that date, when those finances come into my account, I'll give him a call and be like, my finances are in, I'm dropping the funds into your account. I'm going to send you a picture of proof of payment. I need that done. I need it done. Because like Sondra said, that's reputation. But if I need to do a project, but I don't have something set, I don't have something solid, it's all pie in the sky, it's all, there's no contract in place, I'm just hoping that it all lines up, and I feel like I need to borrow money, I won't. I will not. I would rather than try and rely on other resources other than money. And there are other resources out there. People are resources, relationships are resources, getting introduced to the right people are resources, speaking to people that have been there before. What did you do? Did you take the loan? How did you circumnavigate? That's a resource, you know. So push into those channels first before just sitting back and going, oh, I'm just going to take a loan, but I've got no set plan on paying it back. I hope everything works out. And then the rest of the world crosses their fingers and they just hope with you. Newsflash, nobody's crossing their fingers for you. You are in this, you've got to make it happen. And if you don't, you are proverbially screwed. Don't do it to yourself. Don't do it. I'm pretty sure that if you were in a situation where you were deciding whether or not you should or shouldn't, or how or who to approach, or what institution to approach, you can approach other entrepreneurs and go, what did you do? What did the contract look like? What does it look like monthly to pay back? Can I afford that? Were you able to afford it? What did you have to do? This is called doing your homework. If you're not going to do your homework and you think you've got it made, it won't last long. Because you might find that you might not even need to take out a loan if you pursue all the other avenues first. Now, me personally, I built my entire business and I've never taken a loan in business. I've never taken a loan in business. Never done it. Don't plan on doing it. I think I've just been lucky that way. But I've relied on people, a lot of people. Sondra's been one of them. Lesetja's been one of them. Those relationships, they've paid off. Rather double check and see whether or not you actually need the loan before you get the loan. And if you do need the loan, do your homework. Don't leave yourself between a rock and a hard place.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. Like you said, do your homework and your resources. What are your resources? That is something when I coach, I talk about that. I'm like, what are your resources? I don't have any. Okay, well, who do you know? What are your relationships? What does your family do? Is there anybody in your family can help you with that? Like um, is there a local college? You know, they have internships. I had a client where the internships were paid for not by her, by somebody else. And she's had interns. Oh my gosh, I think she's on her third year of getting interns through this college for 4 to 5 months at a time, you know, and it was her relationship with the college that got her in that door. And that's how she found out about it. And then that's the other thing, diversify. Know your resources and diversify your resources. If your resources is a small pool of people, figure out how to expand that, you know, and maybe it is asking somebody in that, like, hey, do you have a good resource for X? You know, it's not in this circle, but you can connect me with this person or that person. And I say that, yes, I have Explore ProTech, but I also have this community, this place, that place. I love having multiple resources. I love checking in with them. I love knowing that because when somebody comes and asks me a question, I'll be like, I don't know, but let me go ask. Or why don't you go ask and build a relationship with that person? Um, Also diversifying your income. So if you have business A, maybe you work part-time to supplement, or maybe you have business A, B, and C because, C is your newest passion, but it's not quite a business yet, but you're running A and B and they're profitable. So you can go spend some time on business C, that's your passion for the moment, and vice versa. Um, it's funny, yes, all my clients have always had multiple businesses. I'm drawn to that creativity a part of that. I worked my business part time while working full time and being a mom and a wife and for a year before I went into the leap of faith to become full time in my business. I know a lot of people that, do that. Um, so diversify. And even now in my full-time business, I have other pots that money are in and are growing and doing things. So diversifying your income or your family's income while you're building a business, but not even while you're building business, just business in general. Especially when you're building, that would be another thing. Hey, I'm going to work so I have a solid pay my rent, pay my bills income, but I am growing this and I'm adamant and I'm going to put the sweat, the equity, the time and the resources in to do this till I can build it up till it replaces this or vice versa on how you want to do that. But it definitely is a thing. And I think the stats are out there. Most wealthy people have anywhere from 7 to 10 streams of income. It's just that is the world we are in today. So, definitely look at that too. And sometimes it can be passive income, affiliate income. Like it doesn't have to be this thing where you put 7 jobs on your plate. You know, make money work for you, investing and in things like that. So definitely do that. And again, it's about homework and education and knowing your resources. And I'm not an accountant, but I have accountant people that I can go to. I have a bookkeeper myself. And if she doesn't know, she's referred me to CPAs. Like build those relationships so that you have that. And actually now I have a relationship with a CPA because she recommended me to her and she's like, oh, I'll just help you to help you. She's a friend of yours. She's a friend of mine. Like it was a relationship thing. It was not there was no money involved. So super grateful for that to build that relationship. Um, but yeah, definitely knowing your resources, like Peter said, is super, super helpful. So for sure. All right, Mr. L, good evening, sir. Come on in.
Hi, good evening. And Kira, thank you for the courtesy. Um, Look, I think I'm not summing this up, but the reason why we have Explore ProTech and some other communities is for a mere reason of helping each other so that we don't fall into the experiences that the Sondras and the Piras and the Lesetjas have fallen into. So we help each other. We kind of guard you against the faults that you can make in your business. So for me, there is a solid reason why we are there to advise, to uplift, to empower, and to help grow each other and to avoid the errors that were committed before. And I think, Peter, you mentioned something that's very important, and that is reputation. That starts in the family. You cannot not pay back your family and say, I'll be able to pay back the bank when you haven't paid your family back. And I think as soon as your finance hits your bank, the very first people that you pay are those that borrowed you money or lent you money, whichever term fits, because that is then going to build your reputation when you fall into a pit later in life. You are able to go back to them and say, guys, in this dilemma, can you help? And because you have paid them back, they will always help you. Because as soon as you say, I mean, even you can say to them, Pira, you can say to them, I'll pay you back in 3 weeks on a Wednesday. But on the Tuesday, you phone them and say, I've got the money in. Can I then pay you? That just lifts up your reputation with them. So what I wanted to say when I said I'm not summing this up is, as a business, don't go in and say, I'll take a loan because I'm a business, because I want to grow, before doing your research. Do you actually need that loan? Because sometimes people say, yeah, I'll take a loan and buy a car, a fancy car for that matter, because I've got a business, that seems on the books to be able to afford, I'll just go in and take a loan. That for me is wrong. You need to make sure that I am taking this because this is my last option. Out of all the options that I've got, the financing, the investors, and all that, this is the last that I can go to, and look, I have to. Then, as Peter mentioned earlier, be sure that you've worked out what are the steps that you have to be able to pay back that loan, because you want to pay it back quicker than the period they gave you. That saves you a lot of interest, which you may not see, but the interest that you save will be quite a bit. I mean, it's just like when you take a bond of the house for the house, and they give you 20 years. That's standard. You pay it back in 15. The interest that you save, that you might not tangibly see it, is quite a lot. So help yourself and do that. The various ways that, Sondra, you mentioned of how to get finance into your business, very, very important. Maybe, I'm not saying you should do it, but maybe we could take one day and just go through each one of them, what they are, how they differ from the first one to the next one, and so on, so that we all learn. This is what an investment or investor will require from me. Now, what are all the steps that I need to make to be able to get that investment? And Peter, I think you mentioned something else that's important. When an investor says to you, I'll just invest in your business and I'm not interested, just bring back my money, then that's not an investor, that's a loan. Because what they're interested in is a profit that you're going to make. But an investor that says, okay, I will put money in, I will put my resources in for me to be able to see you growing, for me to be able to see you steering your business in the direction that you want. For me, that's an investor, and that's a person that you can actually work with. So I think the investors, the sponsorship, the loans, and all that, I don't know, but I think we need to be able to go deeper into them, so that we all understand the differences. Sondra, you mentioned one that there was, I forgot the name, but that piqued an interest. I cannot remember the name, but you mentioned it earlier in the conversation. I think we'll be able to pick it up in the recording. That is absolutely awesome, because then there's no much outlaying of capital, but you are benefiting. And that's how I understood it. So yeah, no, thank you so much for this platform. Thank you so much for this topic, because we're learning. It's something that I didn't know, so I'm learning as well. Thank you so much. And this is Lesetja Mokou from Letchmok, your business development agents.
I love that. I love that. I love that, Mr. Al. Yes, it's important. And I'm glad you learned something, because that's the point of the show, is to have people learn how be a resource. Okay, we've been talking about that. Education, resource. And we tell you up front, it's from our point of view, or if we bring an expert in or whatever. So we want to be a resource, and go back and watch the shows before this about finances and why financial literacy matters. We started that at the very beginning of April. It was the first show in April with Financial Literacy Month. And this is what, one, what the definition is, two, why it matters, three, make sure you have it from the get-go. And financial literacy is not just about your business, but about your personal. If you want to, if you're young and you're starting a family, or you're middle-aged, or I mean, there's so many chapters of life, and financial literacy matters in all of them, from pretty much the time you're born to the time you die. So whether it's you're taking care of somebody or somebody taking care of you, financial literacy matters. We are out of time. It's always so funny when I think, oh, I don't know if we can talk the whole time, and then we turn it into, of course, an amazing show. So a big shout out to Susan, aka one of our bookkeepers in Explore ProTech. She also does our show description. She does the covers. She does the show notes. She turns it into podcasts. So make sure you like and share not only our YouTube channel and shows, but also on Spotify. She also puts our links in the show notes. So please schedule a coffee chat with us. We love to get to know people, especially people that are watching the show. I take all feedback, good, bad, and ugly, because that's how you grow. So if people aren't telling me how it goes, then I can't grow. So definitely hit us up after that. And she usually gets the show notes in within a good one to 2 days. My name is Sondra. I'm the owner of Get It Done, and I help you with goals, life goals, business goals, whatever type of goals you want. I help you break them down into bite-sized pieces, and with accountability and resources, help you get that done. Mr. Peter, can you sign us off, please?
Awesome. Just a quick thank you for the topic. I think that was absolutely brilliant. For one, I'm very financially illiterate, which is why Nastine is absolutely brilliant. Having a partner that's a chartered accountant really helps a lot. You learn a lot on the way. But for those of you that are out there that are exactly like me, reach out and have a conversation. It's really not difficult. Our links will be in the description. If you have questions that you want to ask, if maybe you even have topics that you want to talk about in the future, reach out, have a conversation. This platform is all about helping those that are coming after us. So if we don't pave the way, then it's going to be a rocky road. With that being said, it's time to sign us out. Ladies and gentlemen, with the famous saying from Nastine Botha, may all your wildest